Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Fong. Thinking right out here in the lab. What I do, what I do for you. Oh, I'm in the book now. I'm on the road, so let me get this party started. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right Thinker's mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinker's way of life, through mental and spiritual discipline practice daily, will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission that I'm on. That all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal should be to know thyself. So let's get this party started. I got more information for you, but you can know thyself. So I asked the question: do you know you? It's rhetorical. But if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believes and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with hundreds of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself and always to Maya be true. Excuse me. We're still doing that aspect of your personality which represents death. Right thinkers? Let's talk about Nebthet. She opened the door, as it were, to death, aka mortality. Let's talk about it. I'm getting you understanding every aspect of your character, and this is one of the important one. Why? Because it gets you to understand the concept of death and mortality. So, right now, the end of physical life is a strange passageway to what of the soul when it goes into what is journey into the astral plane or to experience the astral world in the nether world, has explained in the earlier story of Sa Asar, which we went through a while ago. But the concept is, we if I ask you the question, if you're scared to die, you have no knowledge of self. Knowledge of self, knowing that self means you know you are a spiritual being and the spirit don't die. The physical body will. That's what that represents in your aspect of your personality. Realizing the physical body is going to die. And they go, oh, I'm going to die. Yeah, we all are physically. But spiritually, we go on. But you need to understand this aspect. So let's talk about that. She opens the door, as it were, to what? Death. Don't fear her. Okay. And there is a mystical relationship of that with sexuality. But a lot of people who study ancient Egyptian mythology don't realize it. Why? They misinterpret some of the stuff, they misget the concepts, and that happens in all religious viewpoints. I see that, so it's okay. I understand. And I don't got a problem with somebody telling me about Set and Nebthet. They never had kids. So if you tell me Set or Ampu or Anubis is the offspring of Nebthet and Set, you're wrong. It's the offspring of Asar and Nebthet. That's why if you do your homework to those things like that, you really wouldn't know. I'm just saying. I just try to help you out when I can. So understand that. They told you ego and mortality or death can't produce nothing. That's the concept. Moving on. Again, everything's there for a reason and purpose. And when you got people who study Egyptian mythology, they realize in the in the Assyrian resurrection myth, for those of you recall the lecture series or have read the book, you know that what one day Asar was sort of, now this is the story I like to tell, the clean side, Then I got the dump side. Right now we're gonna do the clean side. And this is what they say. Okay, this will be, if I'm talking to kids, this is what I would tell you. Okay, it was said that one day Asar came home because he liked to party and he got a little intoxicated from drinking. He liked to have parties and he was a very jovial personality, happy go lucky type of guy, very happy, go lucky, okay. And what? He went to bed. He thought he was going, well, he went to bed, he was in there, and what happened, Nebthet came in, and because Nebthet and Asar looks identical. He made a mistake and they had love, and he thought she was upset. This is the children's part. And she got pregnant through the sexual relationship, but he didn't know because he was drunk. Okay. But now the other story goes is she couldn't get pregnant by her husband, which is set with the ego. She wanted an offspring. She knows she can bear children, but she needs somebody to help out. That's where Sarah came in. Her and Aset decided to, do a little switcheroo and help her sister out. Okay, that's another story, but that's the concept. But for the kids, he got drunk and he didn't really know what was going on. Long story short, he made love to the wrong woman, got her pregnant, and the offspring was that. Philosophically, the baby is Ampu. That's your discernment character that you need also to get to the tree of life. Again, so now recall that we said previously about what? When Aset, he made love to her thinking she was Aset with Nebthet, and they had a child called Ampu. We know him as Anubis. Now recall that we said previously, again, Set and Nebthet had no children. I'm trying to break that down to you easily. Why? However, there you go with the however. Asar and Nebthet did produce a child, again, Ampu. So his bastard son, Asar, who's in charge when he brought him into the world with nature, mortality, he was running the afterlife. He runs the underworld, afterlife, death. Okay, he led you to wherever you was going. But when Asar got killed, he came down and Anubis gave Asar title, the throne, to sit on the throne to be king of the afterlife. He was just a servant, like the most kids would do to their father. Give him the seat and let him run the show. Okay, that's the concept. So let's go on right quick. But that's how it came about. That's his father. Like we said, okay, the bad part when Star Wars, if Anpu didn't know who his father was, at a certain point in time, Asar tell him, Anpu, I am your father. I love that. See, there's all kind of ways that you can play the story and use it to what? To tell it, to get your point across. That's all I'm trying to get you to understand. Use it as an analogy. So let's go. That's the whole point about telling mythological stories. Speak a language, excuse me. Now, where we are down here, the Ampu. Okay. Now, Ampu is known as what? A god of two faces. We got two. Nope. Watch this. He represents a principle of mental opposites. Also, the principle of what? Righteousness. Knowing right from wrong. At the most basic level, the level of basic what? Instinct. He know by instinct as the instinct of what? A dog. This is a capacity of what? His righteous discrimination between what? Truth or untruth. You have to have that in your character. That's another must that you have to master. Again, I got him in there too. We get to him. But these is all aspects of your personality. We make them to people, give them life so we can study them. Then you can emulate them using your that quality is what? Understanding your mortality in the human form. Also, he what? Serves as the deity of what? Embalming. In the doctor's field, they say they don't want to operate on their family members because it's too first. No, Anubis embalmed his dad. He didn't care. If I had a chance, I'd embalm his ass too. It would have made a difference. It ain't nothing but a body. So once you get past that whole concept, dead body, ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing but again, everybody got concepts and everybody feel a little different. I've moved on about that. But he's the embalmer of the dead body. And he also leads the soul to watch this higher rungs of consciousness. So through Nebthet, the soul gives rise to what? A higher capacity. Where? Through death. You can't go to the next level. This body ain't going to the astral plane. You gotta leave this behind. Okay? The phrase, the eye of the needle, okay? The eye of the needle is your spirit. This body can't go. Okay, that's why you gotta leave everything behind. Yeah, all this got to go. All this means nothing. You can't carry none of this in with you. So this idea of going through death, that's what mortality is all about. Knowing that the body will expire. Why? Because what we are getting to here now is that what when you're studying that understanding it, and really it really means that you are now studying death again. And that really signifies the death of what? Worldliness, this physical domain. Death of the search in the world for happiness and fulfillment based on what? Egoistic desires of the flesh. That won't get you to the next level. It'll keep you here though. Moving beyond the physical, death only occurs when what? When your sexual energy is cultivated and channelized into what? The death experience, which occurs where? In meditation. Meditation is actually a death experience. I told you going to sleep was, but I got the concept even better with the meditation. Why? There's no time and space. There's nothing to do, nothing where you just let it go. So it's another experience of death. That's what's in endless that state. And if it's a positive state, heaven. If it's hellish or negative, hell. Simple as that. So all this mumbo jumbo about that, don't go for that nonsense, please. And this what? This change will represent an introverting of what? The movement of creation to what? The movement of desolation, meaning you're rising above it, you're letting it go. In this discipline of the serpent power, here we go, there are two serpentine forms. Yep. You see me doing that? Watch this. And the movement is one is going down like my pyramid. You got one going up, that would be our set. The one going down would be Nebthet. Why? I'm going to tell you. You got downwards and upward motion. Aset and Nebthet are the goddesses of what? Serpent power. Let me show you something right here. The medical sign that we use today, okay? Look familiar? That's ours. That's the caduceus. Okay, that's with the Nebthet and I said going up the spinal column. That's your backbone with a saw. Okay, the jet pillow, and you got the sun just at the top. You got the two serpents meeting at the top of the head. The sixth chakra, open up the third eye, your spiritual consciousness. All this was laid out in hieroglyphic. Now we can explain it. That's what I'm trying to break down for you. And you see down here, see the two ladies? They look alike. Only thing different is their headdress. You see them? They two. Actually, two is one, a serpent with two different heads. One an inner and one an outer. One is for energy going up, one is for energy going down. Like the yin and the yang. You can't have one without the other. They never separate. They stay together. Okay? That's that and I said. They gave them twins for a reason. Okay? They stay together. What I just showed you was caduceus with two serpents going up, displaying upward and downward movement. And the next one I showed the bottom that was the goddesses I said and that as what? Serpent goddesses. And you see the other one at the bottom where they join together. The serpent goddess I said, Isis, or the goddess Nephthys, depicted as what? Dual serpent goddesses, which in apartment A, excuse me, this figure A, and B, the reality manifestation of the one singular essence, you see in one serpent with two different heads. That's them. Nebthet and Aset are the goddesses of what? Serpent power. We call it Sekhem. In this form. Now, the Indians took it and made a whole religion out of just that concept, which is just one of our concepts. We didn't think that much of it, but they made it famous, and that's fine. But we understand it, okay? We got other stuff we do too. But watch this. Now, you got the serpent power. In this form, they are known as Nebthet. That means the two ladies, all right? And the two serpents. The two serpents, every time you see the wings, you see the disc, some wing, there's two serpents. That's them. The plumes you see going up, that represents them. Whenever you see anything movement, there's two of them, that's them. Okay? They're the serpent power. That's life force. And the two serpent goddesses are what? Are one and the same, but operating oppositely. One serpent represents, again, downward movement. That's Nephthys. Earth. She stay here. Earth is set. Earthbound. You can't rise until you get past them. You don't get past them, you stay here. reincarnated over and over. So that's the first lesson. I'm taking you through that. It's going to get fun. It's going to get better. Watch this. Now, Nebthet represents downward movement, the movement of creation, and the other represents what? Upward movement. That's why we have minds up. I said the movement of distillation, meaning you rising, you're leaving all this behind. You rising, becoming one with what? Your higher self. Becoming conscious, aka you know thyself. It's all symbolic, but it's esoteric when you can break it down. It's mysterious to those who don't know, but it's fun for those who want to indulge and learn, and you can use it, and you'll see the mastery of it by what? Implement it for yourself. Me telling you about it don't do nothing for you. You practicing it, ding, 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 ding. Why? That's how I got it. I can tell you about it. Why? I got it. I did it. Moving on. Watch this. Now, with the upward movement, distillation means you start to rise in consciousness. It's about to get good. If you are able to elevate your consciousness, come up out that ignorant state to the level of what? Transcending your lower ignorant state of energy centers, your energy spheres of the souls of Ra, is 7 of them. The Safa Bara, called the chakras. India, I told you they made that's Indian yoga. You begin to what? Die. What? To the world of time and space. It's called aging. You're going to run out of time in time and space. That's Nebthet's aspect. Mortality. I'm only going to be here for as long as my body can function to keep me alive. After that, bye-bye. And if I haven't regained or gained my consciousness of who I was, I'm going to get another body and going to do it again. Cycle of life, moving on. The idea to break this cycle for yourself. Why? Don't come back. Moving on. And now this aspect of Nebthet, which includes what? Your physical body. Knowing the physical nature and mortality of the finiteness and the fleetingness of what? This physical world. Don't fall in love with this. Why? It ain't gonna be too long. You're gonna be here. That's why. And you can't take none of it with you. This allows you to what? Begin to start to die. Well, I don't want to die. No, die to the world, give birth into what? Anpu. What? Right thinking. Ding, 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 consciousness within yourself. You're starting to rise to become what? This discernment. You'll be able to see right from wrong. You know the BS from the real stuff. And you will not be a belief system follower. I'm just saying. Your righteous mind, okay, your discerning mind is opposed to the mindless mind that acts on what? Is impulse based on, you ready? Is egoistic notions and physical desires. We brought Anpu into the world, and that's the instinct of ethics as opposed to an instinct of egoism. So he's opposed to Set too. Set based on ignorance that may be defined here as absence of what? Self-knowledge, higher self, knowledge of higher self. Again, when you're spiritually ignorant, you either atheist, agnostic, or you don't believe in God. Okay, you can believe that's just being ignorant again. To say you don't believe in something, just saying you don't know. Just say, I don't know. That's it. But at least if you say you don't know, like my man says, Sadi, not knowing something opens yourself up to learn. Thinking you know something or believing you know something shuts down your ability to take in what? Information to become what? Enlightened. All breaks out is all the same. And we know people like that. We are, it's human nature. That's why there's rules you got to learn. There's discipline that you got to adhere to make your situation better for yourself. That's all. Let's go. Anything that got to do with self means you. It's all about self with me. Okay? Watch this. Now, you begin to die to the physical world, all that good stuff. But in order you die for that, your intellect, your right thinking consciousness that's within you, that righteous mind, Anpu, the instinct, absence of knowledge of your higher self is represented by the ego self. Now you got the discerning mind is just like a dog. He on the crowd, okay? A canine, being which Anpu is, that's the head he got of a dog, canine. It cuts off that which is what? Untrue. When you bring something to me, a belief system that I know, I'm cutting it off. We ain't got, no, I'm done. We good. No, I'm good. And it has clarified what? That which is true and what follows that. That kind of mind leads you to what? Higher consciousness. We rising, aka Haru, the true and real you, reincarnation of the Father. And so through Nebthet, which is mortality, all that is possible. Why? Actually, Nebthet is an extremely important and necessary principle that you need to master. Why? Because if you do not have that kind of death, you will be what? Running around horizontally. Not going this way, not going that way. You're only going to go this way. Okay? Or Boris, eating the tail, reincarnating, eating itself up, coming back again. That's the cycle of life of an ignorant person. Okay? That's what they call it, reincarnating. Okay? Now, you keep having downwards in the women. You'll be moving around horizontally. But if not downwardly in the world of time and space, headed for depression indefinitely, and you will never have any abiding vertical movement, meaning going up. And that sexual energy will just be squandered. That we discussed will be expended in what? In the world of time and space, and it will be impelling the personality ever what? Forward into all kinds of what? Adventures, dramas, fetters, and all kinds of time consuming and wasteful searches for what? Fulfillment. All the wrong places in the world of time and space, but not upwards and in a meaningful or fulfilling way. Nebthet cannot give you nothing. Along with the ego, you cannot materialize nothing. You can't agree with Nebthet and get Anubis, but your discernment, that's the factor that you need to do with Nebthet. Moving on. Now, I'm going to skip this next because it's a bunch of fluff. So I'm going to get to the next one. I'm going to skip this one too, but I thought it might be important. I see the clock. Let me wrap this up for you. So Nebthet is known as what? The creator of bodies. She creates the bodies, not the spirits. Kunum is the fashion of spirits. Okay, don't get them confused. But the bodies of God and goddesses, meaning male or female, and realizes that the images and the iconographs of the God and goddesses represent principles, and they need to have form. Why? So that they can embody, so that the human mind can what? Understand them. Why? Because otherwise, if it were too abstract, it would be too difficult for the untrained mind to understand. Meaning, it may be a little too complicated. You can't give a kid algebra and he don't even know math yet. So that's the concept. So therefore, that principle that represents is what? As creator of bodies is extremely important. Why? It lets you know about nature. Otherwise, it would be beyond human ability to understand those beings and those principles they represent, which should be called the Neteru. And from the practical perspective, watch this, without Nebthet, human bodies could not take shape in the world of time and space. That's how important she is. She represents mortality. However, as the lady of the house and as goddess of the earth, the temporal and the fleeting, so too is what? All her creations. Anything that's born, nature will die. That's not that. That's what she represents. Now, including what? Her bodies are temporal and fleeting. Thus, the bodies that she creates are not immortal, but what? Mortal and finite. So therefore, as Nebthet, which is Lady of the Bodies, she has an extremely important role in the Kemetic religious concept. Again, she knows her role. That's her role. Another important aspect, as we have discussed about this aspect, which cannot be Another important aspect, as we have discussed above, was the aspect which cannot be understated, that the goddess in conjunction with goddess who? Aset are also the serpent power goddesses. Serpent power is the form of life force. Again, that is used by who? The creator to what? Create creation, aka God. It also the same energy that sustains human life and which a human being uses himself or herself to create. Procreate, male and female, we can create. That creation can take the form and everything creating the nation is what? Going to die. Okay? So anything that's done with Nebthet has a death warrant. So the form of any offspring and any ideas working in time or space or spiritual enlightenment will what? Decease. The creations in lower time and space, the physical world, which is the time realm we live in now, occur when what? When the serpent power is allowed to flow downward. That's Nebthet. That's the direction. Creation in the upper direction. That's not Aset. But that movement represents physicality and what? Ego production. Meaning here in the physical form, meaning nothing. The Aset movement, watch this, represents an embodiment of the serpent power energy that has been divided into two aspects, one downward, Nebthet aspect, and the other one upward, moving aspect. Thus are what? Complementary opposites. Also, one is a cooling aspect, Nebthet, and one is a fiery aspect, Aset. One is the coagulating aspect, physical form, Nebthet, and one is a disintegrating aspect, dissolution, raising, Aset. If these two principles are mastered, again, and what? Balanced, my girl. And then that allows what? Your personality to as if what? Congeal the two energies, and this is the principle of we call Mayate. Mayatean, meaning two opposites coming together. Watch this. The form of two goddesses, two serpents collapsing into what? One force. And that is the one serpent that moves in the balance scales of Maya, okay, up the spine, symbolically. And that's the lesson. I'll be back with more. It's just starting to get good, but I got to go. And in closing, right thinkers, may y'all live to be 100 and me 100 by the day. So I don't know that right thinkers like you passed away. I got to answer the phone. I'll be back.